Hey, hey, hey. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I want you to grab your pen and your papers because Keisha Hazlett has something she wants to share with her community this afternoon. And let me see if I could tag a few friends, and then we are going to go ahead and get started. As we are getting started, I want you to grab pen and paper because I'm going to share with you some tips, and I'm going to extend an opportunity for you to join me in something. So make sure you grab your pen and your paper, tag a friend that you think would benefit from this information. Our topic for tonight is truth, liberties, and the relationship it has with her transformation. And her transformation has a lot to do with you, the woman. Okay, so make sure you grab your pen because this is going to be good. I mean, this is going to be juicy, right? And we're just going to make it fun and light, but it's something on my heart. And I really, really feel like I need to share it with my community. So again, as we're chiming in, grab your pen and paper, tag a friend, and invite them to this live training. And then the first question coming out of the gate is what I would like to ask you, and then I want to introduce myself, is I want you to share in the comments below what is the one thing that you have accomplished during this time of reset, change, and pivot. I'm going to repeat that question again. In the comments below, I want you to share with me one thing that you have accomplished during this time to reset, change, and pivot. And I'm going to share with you one thing that I have learned, changed, reset, and pivot about, and that is truth and liberty, right? And the relationship it has with her transformation. So I want you to answer that question. And then number two question I want to ask you is, before we get started, I want to know, what's your favorite drink? Now, I know I always talk about me drinking coffee, and actually I don't even have any coffee right now. But my favorite, all-time favorite drink is coffee, and I like cream and sugar in my coffee. Oh my goodness. Yes, I do, right? And I know it's a process to change all of that, but that's one of my favorite drinks. So what is your favorite drink? I want you to go ahead and drop it in the chat for me. Let me know what you love to drink. And if it's coffee, right, what's your favorite flavor? Do you like mocha? Do you like cappuccinos? Do you like vanilla? Do you like lattes? What is your favorite drink? I want to know. A sister want to know, right? So as I am preparing for, the days ahead, right? I don't want to look too far in the future and not live for today. And I want to invite you ladies to do the same thing. Because even though we are looking forward to 2021, if we have not reset, changed, and pivot the same things that we experienced in our lives that we're not satisfied with, we will continue to experience those same things, right? So I hope you got your pen and paper because I got some good stuff for you. Okay, so what do I mean by? Oh, let me introduce myself, right? I'm so excited to share the information. My name is Keisha Hazlett, and thank you so much. If this is your first time tuning in to one of my live broadcasts, hi and welcome. I'm a sister, a mom, a friend, a wife, a God girl, a nurse entrepreneur, and I absolutely adore all of those positions. I am also the CEO of Excellence Health Career Center, where we actually help our aspiring nurses to position themselves for entry-level jobs in the healthcare field. Okay? And I also help aspiring leaders and nurses and other professional women to establish themselves using their voice as a presence to elevate wherever they are in their business life or community. All right. So in other words, I help with speaking development. So let's get into the content tonight. I want to talk about truth and liberty. Now, when I talk about truth and liberty, oh, you like coffee, cream, and sugar, girl? I know, me too, Miss Teresa. Just love it. I'm telling you. So when I say the word truth, put in the chat what comes up for you. And when I talk about truth, I want to talk about it in a sense of its wholeness. I don't want you to chop up truth, right? In its wholeness. So when you hear the word truth or when you hear the word liberty, what does that say to you? What comes to mind for you? Because as we women, as we are transforming, I believe it's critical that we understand where our responsibilities lie as it relates to standing in truth and standing for liberties. Now, I'm going to share some things and they're going to be transformational. I know they are because they've been transformational for me. And I want you to hear me. I want you to hear me. And what you don't understand, it is now your responsibility. This is what I tell my students all the time. When I start with the information, it belongs to me. But once I release it to you, it now belongs to you. And after I release it to you and you hear it, you now have a responsibility to go and do something with it. Okay? So, when I say the word truth, what does that mean to you? And when you hear the word liberty, what does that mean to you? And when you think about truth and liberty, what do you think about it in relationship to your transformation? What do you think about it in relationship to you as a woman? What do you think about those two words in relationship to where we are today in America as her? Okay? So, this is extremely important to me as I become more aware of what my responsibilities are. One, as a human being, first and foremost, right? And not only am I a human being, but I now have an identity. And my identity is one, inside of Christ, and two, I am a woman. He designed me to be woman. All right? So knowing that coming out the gate, my responsibility is to protect at whatever cost I can to protect the civil liberties. So what are your civil liberties? Somebody put it in the chat. When you hear the word civil liberties, what do you think about? What comes to mind for you? Because it's extremely important that if we are not aware of what our liberties are as civil people on the earth, how do we expect to protect it, sustain it, grow it, teach it, and expand upon it? If we have no knowledge of what our civil responsibilities are as her, then there's no way there's room for growth. Because what will end up happening is we will get so far and then we'll end up stopping. We'll run into a wall, right? And that's not what I want us as her to continue to do. All right? So when I think about the word civil liberties, I'm going to read the definition for you, and then I'm going to give you my commentary because I got it pulled up here. And the dictionary's definition says, the state of being subject only to laws established for the good of the community, especially with regard to freedom of action and speech. So, as we are standing in the position of her and being transformed or having to pivot as it relates to where we are today and where we come from, do your rights matter to you? Because if your rights don't matter to you and you're not willing to use your voice, if you're not willing to use your pen, if you're not willing to use your phone, if you're not willing to use community to make change based on what your civil liberties are in the world, then we now leave that responsibility up to someone else. And I don't know about you, but it is not the government's responsibility to take care of my responsibilities. Okay? So I want you to hear that. You have a civil responsibility as her, as an HER. Yes, you do. You do not get the right to sit back in your couch with your remote control, flick the channel, talk about who struck John, where they struck him at, who showed up, who didn't show up. My question to you, what are you doing with the tools that you have been equipped with to make sure that your civil liberties are staying intact? So, coming out the gate, my number one tip for you this evening, as it relates to truth, liberty, and the relationship with her transformation, is that you, her, HER, won at the point of conception. What do I mean by that? I mean that you are here today, breathing, living, thinking. You have a pulse. Your blood is warm. You are probably in your house with heat, or if you're in a hot place, maybe air, right? So with all of that, when you won at the point of conception, that means that you won, period. So whatever it is that you are desiring to do, I want you to make sure that you are being responsible to your civil duties and being responsible to your personal self, which will in turn affect those that are around you. Because if you and I are not responsible for civil things, just basic human things, we cannot leave that responsibility to anybody else. You have to be responsible. I have to be responsible, right? So that's number one coming out the gate. At the point of conception, you won, which means that any challenge that comes to your door, any challenge that comes to your mind, any challenge that want to enter your heart, any challenge that want to touch your family, any challenge that want to come against your purpose, any challenge that want to stand up against you and say that you can't and you won't. I want you to know that you won on the day of conception, which means that everything you need, want, and desire, you already have. But you have to be willing to pick up the pen. You have to be willing to call the phone. You have to be willing to open the book. Because if you don't do that, then now it's somebody else's responsibility. And we can't have that. Okay? So, let's talk about what some of those civil liberties are. And again, I want you to put in the chat. One, civil liberty, I'm just going to give you a few. Your freedom to self-expression. Exactly what I'm doing right here. I'm expressing to you what matters to Keisha. And I know I don't talk about this part of me a lot. And it has nothing to do with me being political or, representing a particular team. It's about me being responsible so that my freedoms will stay in place. So when we think about civil liberties, one, we talk about what? Freedom of self-expression. If you don't stand up for yourself, if you don't take note to your civil liberties, then guess what? Your freedom of self-expression is going out the door. So as you are transforming into her, as you are standing in the power of her, if her don't stand up and know where her stand, then somebody else will speak for her. That's liberty number one. Liberty number two, freedom of self-defense. I don't know about you, but I don't know nobody, no woman, no man, nobody that has a family, and you're going to let somebody come in your house and just plumb take over. I don't know too many people gonna do that. But if you don't stand up for your civil liberties, if you don't stand up for what you know to be right, if you don't take responsibility and learn what your laws are, then somebody else will do it for you. Absolutely. So, one liberty is your freedom of self-expression. Another liberty is your freedom of self-defense. Because we all love our families. And I don't know nobody going to let nobody take their family out on purpose. Right? The third one is your freedom of the property rights. Right? If you have a right to live here, and somebody come and knock on your door and say, no, you don't have a right to live there. Well, guess what? According to the constitutional rights, I do have a right to live here. If I can pay to be here, I got a right to live here. Which means that I have a right to choice. Okay? Another right we have is the rights against unreasonable searches. Right? No one can just come open your door and come in and start searching stuff. Do you have a search warrant? Why are you here? You need to tell me why you are here. Okay? However, if we are not aware of what our rights are, and we constantly keep letting people just on a whim, whenever they feel like something is not right, I feel like I need to do this, or I feel like I need to do that, and it's a personal feeling, it has nothing to do with community, then they just get up and just write laws and want people to sign them and they become a bill. No. If nothing else, ladies, I think 2020 has taught us to be smarter and stop drinking the Kool-Aid. Period. All right? Another freedom we have is our right to privacy, which is our due process. Right? So if you want to know more about this, again, being responsible, go back, look at your Bill of Rights from the First Amendment to the 10th and the Constitution, and you can see all of the things that you have a right to. Now, you may say to yourself, Keisha, well, why is this important to her transformation? Because if we don't protect, right, please be smart and intelligent. If we don't protect what we have been given, then guess what? We now become a place of socialism. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to live like that. I love having the possibility of getting up in the morning and turning on my telephone and doing a video live and having a conversation with my community about the things that matter to me. I don't need no one to tell me that part of me need to be censored. And I know this may be a little hard for some people, because what I have noticed, and I was in that group once before, I go along to get along. Don't ruffle nobody's feathers. You know it's truth, but you're not willing to say it. Well, I'm here to tell you, 2020 has positioned Keisha Hazlett to a place to embrace her freedom and my freedom of speech. That means something to me. And I hope it means something to you. Okay? So, what are you going to take away from this? As we talk about her transformation, because I can't continue to transform and enjoy life if I am not responsible with the things that I have been given. There is no way I'm going to grow a $1 billion business if I don't have freedom of speech. There is no way you gonna grow a $1 billion business if someone is constantly dictating to you who, what, when, where, and why. Protect your freedom. Protect your freedom. Okay? So, I gave you number one. Well, I'm going to give you 3 takeaways. The first takeaway I gave you was you won at the point of conception. So, which means that you don't have to be fearful about anything or anybody. You have everything you need. And all that you need to assist you is around you. You just have to be bold enough to open up your mouth and ask. Yes. Ask. Okay? Number 2, take responsibility. Take responsibility. Where I am today is nobody else's fault but mine. Where you are today is nobody else's fault but yours. If we all can take responsibility and do our part and fight for what we know is right, this America that we love so much will be amazing. Why? Because you, as her, have taken responsibility to do what you were called to do. All right? So that's number 2. Number 1, you won at the point of conception, which means you don't have to walk in fear. Number 2, you are responsible. Nobody else is responsible for you but you. Not your mama, not your daddy, not your wife, not your husband, not your children, not your pastor, not the government, nobody. You are responsible for you. All right? And then number 3, I love this. Because when you're willing to own where you are and you're willing to stand in that place and that power, then guess what? Through you, through her, through you, through her, the families of the earth will be blessed. What is blessed? Blessed means they are empowered to prosper. But no one will be blessed and empowered if you're sitting on your Wuffy Duffy doing absolutely nothing. And every time the news come on and they tell you that fear is among you, you grab it and you sit and you do absolutely nothing. Time out for that. I'm calling for the no matter what woman. I'm calling for the her that's willing to stand up and say, yes, I believe in my Constitution. Yes, I believe in America that I'm in. Yes, it's chaotic. Yes, there's stuff broken. Yes, there's pieces all over the place. But guess what? I'm going to take responsibility for the things that I am responsible for and do my part. Because there's what? One body and many members. And if each one of us are doing our part, it will get done. Okay? So I wanted to come and share that information with you ladies. I love you so much. And as we are moving forward, I will come on again and we will talk about another segment of her transformation. But I wanted to start here because I believe it's extremely important, especially at where we are today. Where we are today right now, we're fighting for her. Her as America, we're fighting for her. And as we're fighting for her, you may look at your life and say, oh my God, I'm fighting for me too. Absolutely. Absolutely. And she don't win without you, and you don't win without her. Come on, somebody. So let's join together. And I want to extend an opportunity to you. And I want to invite you to her transformational experience. Okay? It's a summit. It's a one-day summit, and it's taking place on January the 9th. And I'm going to put the link here once this video is over. I'm going to put the link here, but the summit is called Her Transformation. It's a virtual summit for women embracing change. Women embracing change. Oh my goodness, ladies. I just love that. We're not afraid of change. We're not running from change. We're not closing our eyes from change. Change may hurt. Change may be uncomfortable. Change may poke us a bit. Change may move us over a bit. Change may say, nope, not right now. But guess what? Because we are in the transformational process, change cannot stop the transformation. And not only can it not stop it, but we're more powerful when we are together. So I want to invite you out to Her Transformational Summit, a virtual summit for women embracing change. Again, it will take place on January the 9th, 2021. And it's going to be an evening session. So I hope you are excited about that. And when you come back and you watch this video, let me know what you think about it. Let me know what your comments are. Let me know what you think about having civil responsibility. What does that mean to you? What does the power of your voice mean to you? What would it mean if someone told you that you couldn't talk anymore? And you had to go in a closet under the staircase in order to have a conversation? What would that mean to you? How would that make you feel? How would that make you feel, ladies? I know for me, I don't want it. I'm gonna be honest, I don't want it. So I'm willing to fight. And I'm willing to fight with the word of God. Not with my mouth, right? I'm not here to be disrespectful, but I am here to speak the oracles of God and say what he said, which is more powerful than anything. And as he give you something to do, I want you to go and do it. If he tell you to write your congressman, I want you to write your congressman. If he tell you to call him, I want you to call him. If he tell you to put a group of women together and go against this bill that's coming up, there was one bill that was really on my heart. I think it was called I want to say it was called the heartbeat bill or the heartbeat. I'll have to come back and talk about it later, but that was a pretty important bill, right? So these things have become more and more important to me during this pandemic. I mean, it really, really has. But anyway, okay, that's another conversation for another day. So I want to give you 2 resources that you can use if you want to learn more about civil liberties. One, you can go to www.aclu.org. It's actually an interest group that has a lot to do with civil liberties and the things that I mentioned below, okay? And another place that you can go if you want to know about, you can just put in your zip code and you can learn about, the different people that are running, what they're running for, what they have voted on, because, someone can stand on the stage and say, yes, I'm going to free the community with the green people. But then when they sit down at the table with their colleagues and they actually vote with the pen, the vote don't match what they said on stage. So when you go and you look, you can actually see what they are actually voting for. That's where it matters. That's exactly where it matters. Pen and paper. I remember I had a teacher tell me one time, he said, the pen is mightier than the sword. That's wisdom. Okay? So I wanted to give you those 2 sites. Site number 1 was www.aclu.org, which is, it's called American Civil Liberty Union. Okay? And the other one is, if you want to know more about who's running, what they're running for, it's called iVoterGuide.com. iVoterGuide.com. And again, you can just put in your zip code and you can learn about what's going on in your community. Okay? So, and then I'm going to put the link in the bottom of, and I'm going to invite you all to the summit. Ladies, one thing I know, I'm telling you, 2020 has taught us sister girls some powerful things. And the power of knowing what's happening in my government. I have not paid attention to what was going on in my government. And I'm telling you, if we want to see change happen, if we want to see her transformation take place, then we have a responsibility to find out what's happening inside of our government. What laws are they passing? And when they pass them, when you agree to whatever it is that they're signing, you have to remember it doesn't just affect you today, but remember we have children that are coming behind us. So whatever it is you're saying yes to today has a generational effect. Oh, honey, okay, I'm being quiet because that's a whole nother conversation, right? So back to the task at hand. because I get so fired up about this. Oh my goodness. I just love it. I love it that we have the power to make a change. We have the power to call our Congress. We have the power to say, no, we don't agree with that. We have the power. We have the power. And not only do we have the power of the pen, but we got the power of the word. The power of the word. Power of the word. Okay? So, again, I'm going to invite you all to our live summit, and it will have Dr. Renelli Williams, Dr. Nicole, Rashina, and there's one more person that will be on the stage with us, and Beth is her name, right? And we're just going to talk about things that matter to us, right? So when I talk about her, she's evolving into what? Are you evolving into the woman that your dreams require? Are you evolving into that billion-dollar woman status, business status? What are you evolving into? What are you changing into? And how are you willing to protect that change? That's really what this conversation is all about. Because even as we're building billions, I want to know how you're going to keep them, so that someone doesn't come and tell you how to spend your money. Or someone come and tell you that, nope, you can't be on live between 10 and 10. So now you got to go under the stage, behind the closet, and turn out the light and talk on the... No, we're not living like that. No, we're not. Okay? So, again, thank you so much for joining me this evening. I'm going to put the link in here once we are all finished, and I'm going to invite you ladies to her transformational summit. It's a virtual summit, and we are just simply talking about things that affect her color, her status, her money, her feelings, her children, her community, her rights as a person in her community. What is her doing? What is she doing? And what does she want to do? And what does she need? And who does she need to connect to in order to make that happen? But it first starts with her. All right? So, again, I want to say thank you for joining me. I love you. I appreciate you. And until the next video, you make sure, ladies and gents, especially the ladies, because this is what this really is all about. Until our next live video, I want you to know that you are not powerless. You are not the victim. You are the victor, and you are powerful. Why? Because at the point of conception, God said it so. I love you, and I'll talk to you ladies later.